all participants to ensure proper identification for better communication and assistance. If you are joining us via YouTube, please indicate your identification in the chat box using the format agency space name. This will help us address your queries and provide the necessary support throughout the session. For participants joining through the Zoom platform, we kindly ask you to right-click on your name and select the rename option. Please enter your identification as agency space your name. This will enable us to address you correctly and ensure a smooth interactive experience. Also, we want to ensure that everyone joining us today has the best possible audio and video reception to fully participate in the event. First, please take a moment to check your audio and video settings. Make sure your microphone is muted and your camera is working properly. Please raise your hand or type yes in the chat box if you can hear me clearly. All right, I see responses from our participants. Thank you for confirming. And now, let's check your video. Please turn on your camera and type yes in the chat box if you can see yourself clearly. All right, responses are coming in, yes. And now, please raise your hand or type yes in the chat box if you can see me clearly. All right. It looks like everyone has good audio and video reception. And if you might be experiencing any technical difficulties, please check your internet connection, or you may refresh your browser or log out and log in the Zoom platform to reset your application settings. While waiting for other participants to join us and to know more about the Development Academy of the Philippines, please watch the DAP video.
After 45 years, the Development Academy of the Philippines has much to be proud of. From its small but ambitious beginnings in 1973, the DAP has grown even beyond its founding fathers' vision and expectations. Over the years, the DAP was led by these men and women whose values, passion, and innovative ideas have greatly contributed to its growth. Their competent leadership laid the foundation for the DAP's place in history. Initially, the DAP was created to train career executive service officers in government. Later, the mandate has also included strategic and policy-oriented research and idea generation, in essence being the think tank for the government. It was a good connection. What started out as small ideas have today become institutions in themselves. They were innovations that identified needs and offered solutions, and which now continue to serve the public in many different ways. The DAP's early training and education programs for government executives were also unique and legendary. They can largely be credited for a bureaucracy that has remained professional, competent, neutral, even through numerous administration changes. The DAP also contributed to national productivity. and introduced the concept of wiser use of resources for better results. It was instrumental in helping local governments rise above the disasters that hit them. Today, with its cutting-edge training and education programs, the DAP not just develops high-potential executives and managers, it is also molding transformative leaders in the public sector. Leaders who are quietly and efficiently responding to people's needs.
We need to open up our graduate school to visiting professors from abroad and also to take advantage of the technical experts coming from the APO countries of which we are a member.
The DAP continues to help the government become more effective by pushing for the results-based performance management system, which ensures that the President's vision and goals for the country are implemented correctly. In 2015, the Philippines was recognized by the APO as the Center of Excellence for Public Sector Productivity, mainly because of the programs built to streamline processes and make service client-focused. Eventually, the public can expect shorter lines and quicker service. While keeping a low profile and being content to work in the background, the DAP remains relevant and sensitive to the public's needs and expectations.
DAP, as a knowledge institution, is a solutions provider. DAP as an institution is exactly what our bureaucracy needs at this time. An institution that creates the best ideas for our bureaucracy to work. And that is exactly what we need in governance. Unless there is such an institution, we do not expect change to come automatically.
After 45 years, DAP's founding fathers must really be smiling.
To the heads of agencies, residents, directors, guests, and fellow colleagues in the government joining us today. Welcome to the orientation on the Government Best Practice Recognition or GBPR. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. This orientation is being organized by the Development Academy of the Philippines Productivity and Development Center or DAP-PDC through the Government Quality Management Program or GQMP. I am Edmond G. Legua of the Development Academy of the Philippines Productivity and Development Center, and I will be your host for this afternoon's event. And now, to start the program, let us pause and give respect to our faith as we start with a prayer.
Sikoy ko kamighimu to langit. Sikoy ko kamighimu
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama, mabantog ka. Warag po ko iling ko'y ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
Everyone, please join me in welcoming the esteemed Director of the Productivity and Development Center, Advocacy and Institutional Development Office, Director Evangeline M. Macariola. Let us give her a warm round of applause as she delivers her welcome remarks filled with inspiration and insight.
Thank you, Edmond. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed public servants, good afternoon to all of you. It is with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I extend my warm welcome to each and every one of you to this orientation on the Government Best Practice Recognition 2023, which is organized by the Development Academy of the Philippines Productivity and Development Center through the Government Quality Management Program. Your presence here this afternoon signifies your dedication and commitment to excellence in the public sector. It is an honor to have such esteemed public servants gathered in one virtual space, all driven by a shared passion for innovation and continuous improvement. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the presence of the agencies and organizations that have graced us with their participation today. No, as mentioned by Edmond earlier, ang dami na natin participants now. Actually, we have many participants from the DepEd, no? Meron tayong taga DepEd Davao de Oro, from Bartolome Luardo National High School, the San Isidro Integrated School, what else? Ano pa, yung iba hindi binanggit no, kung saang DepEd office, but I'll just mention their names. Rodelia Blando, Ameline Rose Yurong, and then we have a representative from DepEd Batangas province, from DepEd Las Piñas. Ayan, ang daming DepEd, no? Calapan City. Then we also have representatives from the Cooperative Development Authority. Saan pa? From PIDEA, from Davao Regional Medical Center, from TESDA, from DOH, from the Professional Regulations Commission, from the Philippine Competition Commission, from CHED, CAR, okay, from BIFAR also we have representative, from the DA Agricultural Training Institute, from Parole and Probation Administration, from Bangsamoro Sports Commission, Negros Occidental Language and Information Technology Center. Meron din tayong representative from the private sector. Tama ba ako nito? Spectraverse. Ma'am Asaryaz Baldomero III, no? Private sector po ba kayo? Ayan. Then we have representative from PhilRise, one representative from PhilRise, Employees Compensation Commission, etc. So ang dami po. Thank you. Thank you to everyone. Apologies po kung hindi ko na-mention yung pangalan ng agency nyo. Medyo mahaba pa kasi. Rest assured, your presence and unwavering commitment to excellence in public service is truly commendable. And we are honored to have you here with us. The GBPR has established itself as a platform for promoting outstanding best practices in the public sector. So later on, after my speech, we'll proceed to discussing the GBPR with Ms. Maan Mayo as our speaker. These best practices not only inspire us, but also exemplify their profound impact. Let me share with you an exceptional tale of innovation that emerged from the Marinduque Veterinary Field Hospital, our last year's GBPR recipient. In a groundbreaking effort, the Marinduque Veterinary Field Hospital introduced a revolutionary program to provide compassionate veterinary care to companion and farm animals in rural and small communities. Okay, alam niyo naman po ang Marinduque, no? It's an island, no? It is home to a broad range of flora and wildlife. Meron din siyang 6 species of animals, no, that are endemic to it, no? Doon lang makikita. It is also called the butterfly capital of the Philippines. So, maganda, no, yung groundbreaking effort na ginawa ng Marinduque Veterinary Field Hospital. Okay, they conceptualized, no, a program in 2004 which has evolved and adopted to meet the ever-changing needs of the time. The Vet Field Hospital offers a comprehensive range of services fulfilling the mandate of the Provincial Veterinary Office, from the spay and neuter program, okay, to animal production services, from information and dissemination campaigns to veterinary medical missions in calamity-stricken areas. So the Marinduque Veterinary Field Hospital has gone above and beyond to promote responsible pet ownership, empowering farmers and extending its support to various regions, including animal and wildlife rescue and marine mammal rescues and rehabilitation. The hospital represents the pinnacle of dedication and creativity, standing as a shining example of the impact that best practices can have in our communities and the lives of our fellow citizens. So as we embark on the GBPR 2023, we eagerly anticipate the discovery of more exceptional best practices. We are excited to learn about your success stories, innovative approaches, and the transformative impact that you have made in your respective fields. Your participation in this recognition program is an opportunity to showcase your remarkable achievements, inspire others to follow in your footsteps, and be recognized for your exemplary practices. So, should your agency be recognized in the GBPR program, the recognition not only reverberates nationwide, but also opens doors for you to submit entries to the international best practice competition, which is being done in Dubai. Ayan. So as a renowned anthropologist Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So let us unite as a community of dedicated public servants, fueled by our unwavering or your unwavering commitment to excellence and continuous improvement. Together, we form a community of change makers, innovators, and trailblazers, united in our pursuit of public service excellence to improve the lives of our citizens. It is your presence and active participation that make events like the GBPR possible and meaningful. So I encourage each and every one of you to seize this moment and share your extraordinary achievements. Together, let us celebrate the triumphs, learn from one another, and strive relentlessly for excellence in the noble pursuit of public service. We look forward to receiving your entries to the GBPR 2023. Your active participation or engagement is instrumental in shaping the future of our government's best practices. Thank you, and let the GBPR 2023 journey begin.
Thank you, Director Macariola, for the warm and meaningful opening remarks. Let us give her again a virtual round of applause, please. Now, let us dive deeper into the details of the program. This orientation hopes to specifically achieve three objectives. First is to provide an overview of the Government Best Practice Recognition, or GBPR. Second is to highlight the opportunity for public sector organizations to showcase their best practices. Lastly is to encourage public sector organizations to be the benchmark organizations in their respective fields. And to guide us in achieving these objectives, here are the activities of today's program. We start off with the registration, followed by the opening program, followed by the overview of the GBPR, including the discussion of its background, objectives, and past recipients. We also have Call for Entries 2023 with a presentation of the timeline, application process, application form, eligibility for participation, criteria, selection and judging process, followed by showcasing recipients of the GBPR 2022 We also have a portion for our question and answer, followed by the Pledge of Commitment exercise. And to give us a better virtual orientation experience, we would like to share with you this webinar etiquette video to guide us all during the session. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. We highly value your participation, and the certificate of appearance serves as a tangible proof of your involvement in this activity. Therefore, we kindly ask that you take a moment to ensure you have completed the attendance procedure. Your cooperation in this matter is greatly appreciated. There will be a designated question and answer portion. You may ask questions and share ideas, insights, and relevant experiences using the chat box while the presentation is ongoing. Always check the chat box for announcements from the DAP administrators. The orientation will be recorded for record keeping, quality assurance, and training purposes. By staying in the activity, you give consent to the DAP to use the recording for the said purposes only. And should you have any technical difficulties while the orientation is ongoing, please feel free to send us a message using the chat box, and we will be happy to assist you. For other orientation-related concerns, you may send us an email using the following contact details. We have Mr. Philip Olimpiada to be the contact person with the email address govbestpractices@dap.edu.ph. Again, the email address is govbestpractices@dap.edu.ph. A reminder to accomplish the post-orientation evaluation survey. Please type in your complete name on the evaluation survey with your first name, space your middle initial, space your last name. Kindly take note that this will serve as the basis for the name that will appear in your certificate of appearance. Copy of the presentations and certificate of appearance will be given after you complete the post-orientation evaluation survey. Are you excited to know more about the details of the Government Best Practice Recognition, or GBPR? At this juncture, I am honored to introduce you to today's resource speaker. She is a project manager at the Development Academy of the Philippines Productivity and Development Center and the project team leader of the GBPR. Let us all welcome Miss Mary Ann I. Mayo.
Hello, good afternoon. Sige po. I hope everyone is comfortable kasi sobrang init ngayon. Sige po. All right. So for this afternoon, I'll be your resource person for the government best practice recognition. I'm so glad to see so many agencies and organizations present here today. Mukhang from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, well represented. And I think I've been receiving a lot of mga queries. Now, we will also send you the invitation for this orientation to your regional offices. So we're very happy. So we will be discussing the program and how you can join and showcase your best practice. Please seize the opportunity, sabi nga ni Ma'am Eva, to be recognized as a benchmark organization. And so hopefully, after the orientation, we will be receiving your applications na po from our participants. Ayan. So we are looking forward to all your applications. Sige po. So as part of the overview of the GBPR, so we have been doing the GBPR annually for public sector organizations since 2015 pa po. So matagal na po namin ginagawa yan. And we are now on our 8th year in promoting, showcasing, and recognizing po outstanding and innovative practices. Later on, I will show you kung sino na po yung past recipients natin. So you will have an idea. So the GBPR is an activity under the Government Quality Management Program. For those of you who are not familiar, it is the GQMP. This is a national government-funded program that promotes quality improvement in the public sector. So the GQMP was created through the executive order, the issuance of the executive order number 605, which intends to effect improvements in the public sector. So we want to improve public sector performance by ensuring the consistency of products and services through quality processes. So with that, let us watch this GBPR video and see how the program started and developed over the years. Okay, let's have the video, please.
The Government Best Practice Recognition to promote, showcase, and recognize outstanding, innovative, and benchmark practices demonstrated by public sector organizations. The Development Academy of the Philippines, as the National Productivity Organization, launched in 2015 the Government Best Practice Competition, or GBPC. The GBPC was launched in 2015 to provide an opportunity for agencies to share and learn from each other's experiences, setting up a learning platform to improve the quality of public service and foster competitiveness among government institutions. Since 2015, every year, a call for entries is being published to invite public sector organizations to submit their best practice entries. All entries are assessed by an in-house screening committee composed of seasoned DAP officers based on the level of deployment, 10%. Innovation, 20%. Best practice performance, 30%. Best practice evidence, 20%. Replicability of practice, 10%. Sustainability or next steps plan, 10%. Qualified entries are then invited for the final judging and presentation to the panel of judges, composed of no less than 3 productivity and quality experts.
Hey, let me just turn on my camera again. Right. So with the GBPR, we aim to encourage knowledge sharing, increase public sector awareness on productivity, and provide access to information and experiences on best practices. So we want to be able to spread the good news that there are best practices that are available that other agencies can emulate to improve their public sector services. So in the GBPR, in the next slide, we are looking for outstanding and innovative best practice. So allow me to define them for you in the context of the GBPR in the following slide. So for the best practice, it refers to organizational methods, tools, approaches, programs, yung pong products natin, services, and or initiatives. So if you will notice, malawak po ang definition ng best practice of what they can cover. It can also be defined as something that is exceptional in actual application of an action. Thus, effective daw po yung pag-deliver ng results. Okay, so we can see here on the slide, there are 4 factors for a best practice. Sabi natin, can it be deployed? So how widespread is the implementation of the best practice that you have within your organization? So sabi, is it within a unit, an office, a department, or is it national in scope? Yan. So, tandaan po natin yung level of deployment. Galing po ba ito sa maliit and then sa palaki? Or is it just contained in a certain area? Right? Next is validated. So can you validate your best practice with evidence na may proven effectiveness of improving your organization? So kailangan meron tayong pinanghahawakan evidence. Pwede natin siyang ma-validate. Third is, can it be replicated? Can the best practice be repeated? Can it be implemented by other agencies which would provide similar results? Yun. So kailangan daw pwedeng maulit, pwedeng gayahin ng iba na makakapag-produce din daw ng similar results. And the fourth one is, sustained ba siya? Is it sustainable? Is the best practice sustainable? It is not a one-time, big-time effort. Parang may masatisfy tayo na program or prize or a prestige. But rather, the implementation should be sustained over a long period of time with applicable resources allocated for it. Siyempre, kailangan may budget, may tao. So, part po siya ng pagiging sustainable ng isang program. Alright? In the next slide, so sabi natin, the next keyword is outstanding. So outstanding is achieving superior results from the implementation of an approach or practice. Sige po, excuse me lang po, baka po pwede pong pa-mute na lang po muna siguro yung isang ating participant. Medyo nag-e-echo lang po yung sound. Yan. Sige, salamat po, pa-mute na lang po siguro. Thank you. Right. Okay na po. Pa-mute na lang po muna siguro. Naririnig ko pa po. Okay na po. Alright. Thank you. So let me just start over again. So for the next keyword, it is outstanding. Outstanding is achieving superior results. So you will always hear the word superior or high level from the implementation of an approach or practice. Sabi nga natin, outstanding. It must be comparable to identified benchmark indicators. Yan. So may mga benchmark indicators na pwede mo siyang i-lift to that level, as it represents the best of the best practices for your given focus area. So later on, I also share with you the identified focus areas that we have that you can choose for whatever best practice that you have that is applicable. The next keyword is innovative. Yeah, the next keyword is innovative. For something to be innovative, the best practice must result to relevant change. So kailangan hindi lang siya change. So it must be applicable at relevant dun sa problema na sinasagot niya. This is to improve products, processes, or organizational effectiveness. It has to be effective for the problem that it wants to answer. Okay? So that innovation on an idea can be a new, original, or a modified idea or process. So pwedeng meron na siyang existing, pero meron kayong minodify na tweak nyo siya that made it better. And that made it a best practice. Ayan? Okay po. And as a result, it creates new value. So yun. Nagkikreate doon yung new value to the stakeholder. Okay? So yan po yung sa ating innovative. So we hope that we have tickled your interest in the GBPR. Yan. And we have challenged you to put your best foot forward and rack your brains on which best practice that your organization would like to showcase. Napapag-isip-isip na ba kayo, ano kayang best practice ang meron kami na gusto naming i-apply? Yan. So sabi nga ng mga millennials, not to brag, but to inspire. Hindi po expire kasi nakikita ko yung iba, but to expire. To inspire po tayo. At this point, if you have any questions, you may type them on the chat box and we will answer them during the question and answer portion. Now, let's move on to the second part of the program for the call for entries. All right? So the call for entries, this is part of the guidelines that we have sent you, I think this week, no? With the mechanics and the guidelines documents through the email. So for eligibility, who can submit entries? Lahat po. All public sector agencies can submit. So lahat po tayo pwede mag-submit. Of course, except for DAP kasi kami nag-organize. Joke lang po yun. All right. So part po is, of course, executive branch, constitutional offices. Ang ating pong NGAs pwede pong mag-submit. Kasama po doon yung attached agencies and regional offices. Yun din pong ating GOCCs. You can also submit. SUCs. Part po siya. Legislative branch, judicial branch, and ating LGUs. Other public sector organizations such as schools, hospitals, multi-agency special task forces, and institutions with unique charters, pwedeng-pwede po kayo. Napapag-isip na po kayo, no? Saan kayang ibibigay ko? For the timeline process, ayan, for the GBPR application process and timelines, rather. So let me give you the steps. So the first step is the submission of entries that runs from May to July. So we released the poster for the call for entries last May 3, and this will end until July 31. Pwede po kayo, you have 3 months. For now, you have 2 months to be able to submit your entries. For the second step is the screening of entries. And the third step is the selection of finalists, which both run from July to September. And the fourth step is the judging and recognition of the best practices, which happens in October. Okay. So let me just get into a little bit more detail for the first step. This is for the submission of entries. Submission of entries is free, libre po. Note that for each agency, you have a maximum of 3 entries rather that you can submit. So halimbawa for DepEd National Office, 3 entries. Pwede kayong mag-submit. Deadline again ng submission is alas 5 or 5 p.m. of every July 31st of the current year. So for 2023, 5 p.m. of July 31, 2023, that you will be joining. So next year, again, 5 p.m., July 31, 2024 naman. So for the recognized best practices, meron lang pong hindi pwedeng sumali. Yun pong na-recognize na before, previously within a period of 2 years. For the same practice, and for the same, of course, organization, hindi na po kayo pwede. Or give chance to others. Okay. So we have identified 7 focus areas. And your best practice entry may fall under any of these. So pwede nyo siyang i-categorize under any of these. So let me just give a few examples kung ano lang po yung under each focus area. So you may choose the focus area that best applies to your best practice. And as of note, these focus areas were patterned after the International Best Practice Competition or the IBPC and the PQA pillars or the Philippine Quality Awards. For more details, as you can see, we have only put in here the list of the 7 focus areas. They can also be found in the mechanics and guidelines that we have sent. But we will also be again posting the links to the folder in the chat. Mr. Philip will be able to do that. For the leadership and governance. So if the best practice is, of course, kung may setting of vision and values, transparency, accountability, you may choose leadership and governance. Yan. Kasi meron po dun sa application form, may ano po doon, may check kayo doon under what focus area. Para naman sa strategic operations planning. Of course, if it's under strategic planning and deployment, performance measurement, piliin nyo po operations planning. For the third one, for social and environmental responsibility. So yung mga activities na that would engage with the public or local community and beneficial to diversity and anti-discrimination in other activities, pwede nyo pong piliin sa social and environmental responsibility. For citizen customer focus, ayan. Lahat naman tayo, I think, is geared on improving customer satisfaction. Please choose citizen customer focus for best practices resulting to improving citizen or customer service. Okay. For the fifth one, for the process operations management, these items fall under this. So supplier and partner relationships, human resources, and asset management. Yeah. For the last two, for measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. So anything related to the improvement of organizational efficiency or knowledge management. Yan. Pwede po yan for number 6, so measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. For automation, digital transformation, and new technologies, yan, AI, artificial intelligence, and robotics applied to any product or process or service automation. Yan. So sana po huwag kayong malito. Please do not focus too much on the 7 focus areas. Guide lang po natin ito para po mas streamlined yung kung paano natin sasagutin sa application. So please note that the GBPR categories are all, again, aligned with ABPC categories for continuity purposes because we also endorse the recipients to the said competition. For the screening of entries, ayan, so that's the second step. This one runs from July to September. We will acknowledge all received entries and we will be reviewing them. Siyempre, titignan muna namin, kamusta ang inyong entry? Kompleto ba? Kompleto ba ang information required? And if the entry is qualified or not. Disqualified ba siya o hindi? So for a disqualified entry, the following are not allowed. Previously mentioned, recognized best practice within 2 years. Check 1. Oh, incomplete data. Hindi kompleto ang data. Naku, paano po natin siya ma-judge fairly kung wala kayong masyadong nilagay? Yun. Sayang naman po si entry natin. And false data or misrepresented data. Kung tayo mag-falsify na data. In addition, we shall inform your agency for any inadequate information or disqualification. So of course, that doesn't end there. Nakita namin, ay kulang. Next, hindi po. Papaalam naman namin sa inyo, uy, yung entry nyo kulang. Kindly rectify this. So you shall be given a chance to rectify your inadequate entries, provided that you please submit them before the deadline. Again, it is 5 p.m. on July 31st. Otherwise, pag hindi nyo na-submit, na sinabi namin, please rectify or pakitama yung inyong entry kasi hindi nyo sinubmit, hindi na po siya disqualified. And then all other applications will proceed to the screening process. Yung mga qualified na po, screening process na po ang susunod. In the next slide, it is the selection of finalists. Yan. So as we receive the qualified entries, they immediately undergo independent review by the screening committee. Yan. So the screening committee then sets aside a specific date to finalize and calibrate on the given scores and results. So there's an independent review that we also do. So each member of the screening committee, nakaka-receive po sila ng copy ng entries. And then they independently evaluate. Yan. And then, if applicable, consensus review may be done to evaluate and scores together. Kami mga nakatay. So, kailangan i-discuss. So, meron po tayong consensus review as applicable. So, siguro pa ba kami mga questions? Paki-type na lang po sa chat box and our staff will take note. Philip will take note. Sige ba? for the criteria. So we have mentioned earlier that we will be using the criteria. And here are the GBPR criteria. So for the level of deployment, 10%. Innovation, 30%. Best practice performance results, yung resulta, 40%. Yan po ang pinakamalaki. Best practice evidence, 10%. Sustainability and next steps planned is 10%. For a total of 100%. So kindly complete all the necessary information so we would be able to screen your entries there. Right? The fourth step is the judging and recognition of the best practice. So for the identified finalists, we will be informing you na, hey, you're one of our finalists, and we are requesting that you prepare a video documentation of your best practice entry. So doon na po, kwentuhan nyo na kami doon sa video. How did it come out? How did it start? What was the innovation? What was the problem? What was the catalyst that prompted the best practice? And what were the results and the benefits in the community and the stakeholders that are applicable there. So as part of the deliberation, of course, it is based on, again, on the criteria of the IBPC and the PQA. So for consistency, we always use IBPC and PQA. All right, Sir Philip, maybe we can post the GBPR online entry form link sa chat box. Yeah, para makita nila. So those were the steps for the application process and timeline. So para aware lang kayo, ano ba yung nangyayari? Paano ba yung timeline? So after that, now we will be showing you the online entry form. Ano ba yung online entry form? Sinasabi ni Ms. Ma. Sige. What are the information therein? So for the GBPR online entry form, the first thing that you will see is general information. So please put in the official title of the best practice. Kahit gaano pa kahaba yung official title ng best practice, ilagay niyo po siya. Yan. Identified focus area, that was mentioned previously. Start and end date, and your organization's name. Hindi po kakalimutan yan. Next is the executive summary of your best practice. Kwentuhan niyo kami. Mention the purpose and objectives rather. Key features of the best practice on what makes it stand out, and the general information of the results from the best practice implementation. Forget that. The level of deployment as stated in the criteria. So please include the background of the problem. Ano ba yung naging problema? What were the challenges encountered that acted as a catalyst? Ano ba yung nag-prompt for the agency to initiate the best practice? Next is, what was the formulated solution? So if the solution was benchmarked from another organization, kinuha niyo po yung idea niyo from another organization, you kindly please also indicate it. It would also be best if you can show and highlight your performance results. This include comparative statistical data before and after implementation. Baka meron kayo existing data, halimbawa tables or studies that shows that this and this, nagkulang kami sa ganito or hindi namin nagawa. And now that we have done this, the best practice, we have initiated this best practice to be implemented to answer the challenges or the problems or as a solution. Ito na yung naging result. So please include that in your performance result. Highlight your key improvement areas. Ano ba yung mga areas na hindi na siya problem areas dahil down sa best practice? You may also present data comparable to other organizations, local or international, with similar product or service offerings or mandates. For the innovation, you can clarify how the best practice makes it either new, original, or represents a significant departure from previous practices within the organization. So I mentioned earlier, sabi ko, na pwedeng meron tayong minodify from an idea and you tweaked it to make it better. Also indicated there. So you may also explain if the innovation was adapted from another organization. So the idea or the innovation that you have can also come from within your own organization. Baka meron na kayong existing within the organization and you tweaked it and you made it into a best practice. You may also confirm if the best practice was also implemented in the public sector, but it can also be implemented in the private sector. It may be the first in the country or in other countries. Malay nyo, diba? Replicability. How is the replicability? Kwentuhan nyo kami ulit. I-narrate nyo po kung gaano kalawak ang yung replicability ng inyong best practice. Paano siya na-scale within the organization? Gaano siya kalawak? Or kung ginaya na siya ng ibang units or departments. You may include yung benchmarking if it's up or down na scale, na scale siya within the organization or by a local or international organization. You may also include there availability of documented information. So you will notice we will always ask for documented information for evidences because that is the only thing that can validate, of course, the best practice. You may include testimonials. Ayan pa pala, additional evidences, validated testimonials from beneficiaries. Ayan, interviewin nyo yung mga beneficiaries nyo, yung nag-benefit doon sa best practice nyo. Ano ba yung change? Ano ba yung significant? Ano ba yung naging significant na improvement sa kanila or benefit? Validated testimonials. For the next steps, planned and sustainability, you may also let us know kung gaano na siya katagal. How long was the best practice sustained? 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 6 months? What were the ongoing efforts to ensure the sustainability is still meeting yung needs ng stakeholders? Baka naman mamaya yung best practice, yun lang, ganun lang, tapos wala na siya, hindi na siya ganun ka-applicable. Hindi na siya nakakapag-deliver ng measurable results. So please let us know about that. You may also mention kung meron tayong communication and awareness, meron ba tayong regular review and evaluation na ginagawa for the organization to ensure na merong paring continuing relevance and effectiveness ng best practice that you have. We would also like to know if the leadership or the top management has given you a commitment in supporting the best practice, the sustainability of the best practice. Meron bang binigay na resources na inallocate, not just money-wise, but of course, staff-wise or other resources, nagpagawa ba ng building or nag-allocate ba ng additional na mga trainings? Yeah. So we would like to know. So for more information, we will also be providing you with the mechanics and the online entry form. So Sir Philip will be posting, or if I think he has posted, mula po kasi akong view for the chat box. I think he has posted po yung links for the mechanics and the online entry form. And I do believe we were also sent you the mechanics and the guidelines through that email. Any questions po before I move on to the GBPR recipients? You may type them in the chat box po, nangangamusta lang. Right? So for our GBPR recipients, allow me to show you some of them. So since starting in 2015, we have had 47 recipients. And here are just some of them. Let me just mention 1 or 2 from the 2018 GBPR recipients. So kagaya po nito, si Philippine Ports Authority, Ports Management Office of Misamis, fostering a green culture for Port Operations and Management of the Philippine Ports Authority, Port Management Office of Misamis. So yan po, huwag po kayo mahihiya kung mahaba yung ating title. Okay lang po yan. There's another one from the Philippine Science High School of Central Luzon Campus, Kinabukasan ng Kanaynayan. What a smart play on words. Kinabukasan, yung book naka-include dun sa kinabukasan. For the 2019 GBPR recipient, we have the Metropolitan Manila Development Office. Their best practice was Children's Road Safety Park, keeping children safe on the roads. Another one is the Land Transportation Office in Bicol, Students Today, Road Users Tomorrow, or the Stratcom. For the 2020 GBPR recipient, we have the University of the Philippines, Diliman, Development of the UP Diliman Supply and Property Management Office, Common Use Supplies and Equipment, or the SPMO CSE portal. The local government unit of General Santos City was recognized for high PERA, high personal effectiveness through resource allocation. This is both for the 2020 recipients. For the 2021 recipients, we have the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority, community-based sustainable tourism in Palawi Island, and protected landscape and seascape in Santa Ana, Cagayan. For 2022, we have the Provincial Veterinary Office of Marinduque for the Marinduque Veterinary Field Hospital, and I do believe this was the highlight of Mom Eva's anecdote on best practice during her welcome remarks earlier. For the next slide, please listen to our recipient. So for the next slide, we can show the video of the recipient. One of our recipients previously, I think from 2018.
I am Attorney Lolibeth Ramit Medrano, the Director of the Bureau of Patents of the Intellectual Property of the Philippines. We joined the Development Academy of the Philippines Government Best Practice Recognition in 2018 with our initiative and the issuance of Early Search Report as our entry. The Early Search Report is an innovative office intervention and policy change to benefit Filipino inventors by providing timely search report and the patentability of inventions within 6 months from the filing date. The implementation of ESR is a proactive measure to help Filipino inventors maximize their inventions by pursuing international protection and commercialization. The ESR was conceptualized mainly to support the National Development Plan to promote and support Filipino innovations, in the process helping build a national culture of innovation. Pilot implementation in November 2016 up to the end of December 2021, we have issued 1,767 ESRs to our local applicants, covering around 80 to 85% of our local filings for each year. Thank you to the Development Academy of the Philippines for this recognition. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, so I hope you will join us. Please join the GBPR 2023. We are waiting for your application forms. Huwag po kayong mahihiya. So medyo dun sa application form namin, may mga madetalye lang po na konti, but if you complete it, we would be able to appreciate it. Actually. And also in the application form, please take note that we do require a minimum of 100 words for some sections. So we can read completely for your best practice. For the list of applicants, we do have a list of applicants for 2022. We do believe that this was also included in the mechanics and guidelines. You would be able to access that, but Sir Philip would also be posting in the chat box. We also have the Development Academy of the Philippines Center of Excellence, Knowledge Bank, GBPR recipients. Ito po yung listahan ng lahat ng mga na-recognize, which will also be posted in the chat box. Ayan. So there ends my data or orientation for the GBPR. If you have questions, I believe we have a lot of questions already. I can see from our list here. So, Sir Edmond, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Mayo, for a very insightful discussion. And to our participants, we will now be proceeding to the question and answer portion. Ms. Mayo will be addressing your questions. Actually, we already have some questions from our participants earlier. So let's start off with a question. All right, we have actually 4 questions which are related sila with the submission of entries. So let me just read the questions. First one, this is from DSWD, Daniel Alejandre. The question, how about field offices? Is the counting separate to the central office? I believe this is related with the submission of entries. We also have a question similarly. This is from Miss Mary Erica Olitres. The question is, part of the guidelines po is an agency is only allowed to submit a maximum of 3 entries. In DSWD po kasi, we have 16 FOs or field offices. That means 3 per office or field offices allowed po. Same question from the Department of Education, Regional Office 6 from Sergio Joni B. Gallardo. The question is 3 entries per agency po. How about po DepEd regional offices and school divisions offices po or schools? Thank you po. And the last one related to the question from Department of Education SDO, Quirino. This is from Miss Lynn R. Catolico. The question, any scheme for selecting per agency? An example for DepEd, if 3 entries only per agency. Thank you po. Yeah,
Right.
those are the questions po.
Sige po. So, since I think they have the same concerns, so medyo mahaba-haba po yung magiging sagot. Sige. For public sector organizations, of course, you can individually submit 3 entries. For example, okay, for branches and attached agencies. Example, si DSWD Central Office at si DSWD Field Offices are considered separate organizations. Similarly, si DOST Central Office and si DOST Region 4A and Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, DOST PCARD, PCHRD, and the DepEd regional offices are considered separate organizations and you may individually submit your own entries. Excuse me. Repeat ko po Si central office and si field offices are considered separate organizations. Yan. So similarly, si central office and si regional office and si council and research and development, kunyari lang sa DOST, and the DepEd and regional offices are separate. So you can all submit 3 separate entries each. Similarly, for agencies that are hosted by an organization but have a special charge. For example, si UP Manila sa National Institute of Health, UPMNHI, created siya but is hosted by UP Manila. But due to the Health and Research Development Act, RA number 850, the UPMNIH na-establish siya as a National Health and Research Center. So considered siya na separate organization. Okay pa? So next, for the lead and member agencies under a multi-agency task force, council, network, established under a specific law, a memorandum or executive order that functions as an organization. So another example, si NDRRMC, nagpa-function po siya as an intergovernment, non-government, as a functional group of intergovernment and then non-government, civil sector, and private sector organization under the OCD. But if it functions as a separate organization from your member agency, and the OCD is under the Republic, well, under an RA, you may submit your own entries. Okay po? Provincial, municipal, city, and barangay LGUs are separate po na organizations. So si provincial government pwede mag-submit ng sarili niya 3 entries. Municipal government pwede mag-submit ng sarili niya entry. Si city and barangay LGUs can all submit their own separate applications. For public hospitals connected with the LGU and DOH, separate organization din po siya. For public schools with the LGU and the DepEd, separate organizations din po siya. Ayun. Okay po ba? Meron pa po bang clarification on that?
I think this is related pa rin po, parang direct message ito na sinend sa akin ni Miss Aiko David, DSWD. So meaning po ba, each region may submit entries?
Yes. Opo. Regional offices can submit their entries. Opo. Sige po. Do we have other questions, Sir Edmond?
All right, so I think we're clear now with our first
hello.
questions.
I think
Yes
I'm
po.
hearing a participant. Yes po, sir.
Yes
Ma'am.
po, sir, from
Um,
DepEd Biliran.
Yes, good afternoon, Sir Edmond and Amayan. This is Ryan Hapev, DepEd Biliran, Region 8. Am I
Yes po,
clear?
sir.
Yes,
po.
sir.
I just have one question, ma'am, regarding on the, I don't know if this has been asked or stated a while ago because I got disconnected for a few seconds, but let me still ask this. Do we have a prescribed template on our entries, like in terms of technicalities, like for font size or intentions, margins, others?
Sir,
Prescribed
siguro,
template lang po if we have, or are we free to make use of our own template so long that all the criteria are there?
yes, sir. Pwede naman po. Opo, pwede naman po. As long as it's legible po, sir, tsaka po organized po siya. Yan. Of course, we all use naman po yung sa A4 size, tapos mas maganda po siguro kung 10 to 12 font size, yung mamadali din pong mabasa.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mayan.
You're welcome po.
Any other questions from our participants? Ayan, so we have here another question, Miss Maan. This is from Mr. Renel J. Kirit. Ayan, sabi niya, good afternoon po. If the innovation started in the school or in a school, then replicated to other schools, is it considered part of replicability even if it is just from school to school?
Yes, that would be part of the replicability. Kasi nga, sabi natin, isa sa mga criteria is it replicable? Papaano siya magagaya or nagagaya ba siya with the same or similar results when it was implemented? But, of course, you must also highlight kung paano siya naging best practice. Was it modified? How was it modified? Is it a new idea? Yeah. Were you able to modify it to make it into a best practice? Kahit naman nagaya nila, pero medyo na modify nyo or na-tweak nyo, you may also indicate it there.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Maan. Another question from our participants from DSWD. We have Sir Daniel Alejandre. The question is, my minimum year to be considered in, tama po ba? Oo nga. Minimum year to be considered in the sustainability, like partnership agreement for 2 years.
So, sorry, hold on. May I, okay, from Daniel Alejandre, my minimum year to be considered in the sustainability. Okay, so based on the mechanics po natin, on the institutionalized measures and steps and concrete plans for innovation, the practices should be identified and has been implemented for more than a year and is ongoing. So, note po natin, the practice should have been identified and has been implemented for more than a year and is ongoing. Wait lang. Let me just go back doon sa replicability. Baka, Balik lang po ako doon sa replicability yung doon kay Sir Renel. Sige po. So, upon further scrutiny po, of course, yung pong replicability natin is 10%. We are looking for the replicability po kasi ng best practice, and it should be evident. But of course, it can also refer to the adoption ng best practice by other parts of the organization. Okay lang naman po. Wala naman po problema. Ano lang po natin, inform lang po nyo kami kung na-replicate po siya, yung best practice na yun. Tapos, you may also fully define kung paano siya na-replicate. Kasi there are other international organizations interested in replicating, of course, yung best practices, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector. Yeah. Sige po. Do we have other questions, sir? I think we still have some time. Meron po
Okay,
bang
so we
katanungan?
have another question here, Ms. Maan. This is from LGU of Malaybalay.
Opo.
Okay, the question po is, could an ongoing project be considered an entry?
Yes. So as long as the best practice po has evidence of consistent role model progress. Meron po tayong excellent performance results na reported. Tapos yung areas of importance to the accomplishment of the organizational outcome targets, meron po tayong results that highly exceeds the same level or as the organization. This is the criteria for the best practice results achieved. Yan. So pwede naman po yung ongoing. Kailangan lang po again, the best practice has evidence of the level of deployment. Again, it must also answer other criteria. Innovation, level of deployment, replicability, sustainability, yan. As long as it also results to a larger number of good feedback and awards, mali nyo, meron na kayong feedback and awards, yan, and recognition if it is applicable locally or internationally. Pwede naman po, yung ongoing. Pero of course, earlier, sabi po natin, it would be best also if it was already established for a year or more already.
All right, we have more questions coming in. So this question is from Bukidnon State University. This is from, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Miss Jelaine Litano. So the question, for the testimonials as evidence, what format should we submit? Interview or feedback form?
Sige po. Siguro po maganda yung statistical trends. Meron po tayong before and after the implementation ng best practice. Maganda po kasi mas ideal po siya. So pwede pong may narrative na kasama. Meron pong statistical trends. Si narrative can take on the format of a testimonial that shows the data nung sa level ng innovation at saka nung outstanding feedback. Excuse me. Yun. So include nyo po pareho yun. May narration, may narrative, and factual statistical trends. Yun.
All right. Next question natin is from Miss Mary Erica Olivares. So I think nakadalawan si Ma'am Plus. The question is, if the entry was qualified but not recognized, will it become a part of the DAP's knowledge bank and be owned by the DAP?
Ang nakalagay lang po dun sa knowledge bank ng COE ay the annual, recognized, outstanding, and innovative best practices po. However, we do have a list din po yung sa yung mga applicants. So meron din po kami listahan. But it is not, hindi po siya malalagay sa knowledge bank. Meron lang po kami minamaintain na list. Yun po.
All right. Another question. This is from LGU or Senro LGU, Igapos.
Opo.
Alright, the question is, good afternoon po. Is it going to be an open category? For example, we are a component city po. Are we going to compete with the highly urbanized cities and among others?
Okay, good question. Si GBPR po, hindi po siya competition. We recognize na your organization has a best practice that is outstanding and innovative. Hindi po tayo nakikipag-contest sa iba. Of course, the bigger the agency or city, it does not mean it will have a better chance of being selected. Wala naman po sa laki or sa liit. Ang tinitingnan po natin ay si best practice. Of course, according to sa criteria that we have set out. So, of course, level of deployment, innovation, si best practice, evidence, replicability, and sustainability cutting across all other different areas. Kasi kung wala itong criteria na to, absent dun sa big cities, syempre hindi sila incomplete ang kanilang evidences or application. Paano kung si smaller LGU, kompleto, innovative, outstanding, and they deserve to be recognized? Of course, we will recognize. So wala po yun sa laki or sa liit po ng organization. Meron pa, no,
Okay.
sir? I
We
think
have
we'll
one
just
more
finish this
question
now.
here. This is
Can
from
I
Sir
see?
Joel Gulway. Tama po ba? Sorry po. The
Gigulway.
question is, do you give recognition to the coordinator or the frontline person in charge aside from the whole organization?
So we recognize, the GBPR rather, recognizes yung best practice and the organization. So as to the concerned or involved personnel, they can be mentioned as part of the level of deployment. So we also ask, it is also included po actually din doon sa ating application form kung sino po yung nandun na na point person doon po sa best practice.
Okay, question from LGU, GMA Cavite. How are we going to send our entry or application? Via online, or does it need hard copies to be sent or received directly to a specific office?
We only accept online po, ma'am, through the portal provided, dun po sa link, including yung evidences po. So if you have all the evidences on paper, kindly scan them po and then upload po natin doon sa portal that we have provided po through the application form on the GBPR online application. So upload niyo lang po. Kasi po, ma'am, mahirap din po na magpadala kayo sa amin ng ng hard evidence. Tsaka po we are in the time of innovation. So we are making use of the internet. So it will also be easier on your part. Wala din po kayong gastos.
All right. For the next question natin, this is from DSWD, again, si Sir Daniel Alejandro. Okay, I see. This is the question kanina. My minimum year to be considered in the sustainability, like partnership agreement for 2 years. Medyo hindi po ito nasagot. Sustainability talks about gaano katagal may ensure ang implementation ng isang practice. It could be a year kung sa mga annual plan. But for GBPR, meron bang minimum year para masabing sustained ang practice? Is it 2 years or 3 years?
Sige po. To reiterate po, based on the criteria, it should be the best practice must have been identified to be sustainable or sustained and implemented for more than a year and is ongoing. Yun po yung minimum natin. Yun po.
Let me just check more questions here.
Sige po, habang you're checking, let me just go back dun sa question ni Ma'am Gailey ng LGU Cavite. Can I also add po, when you also submit po yung inyong data, you are also agreeing or consenting to give to the DAP to process and disseminate and release the submitted information for any relevant purpose po. Nakalagay din naman po doon sa Data Act na nakalagay din po sa online entry format. So you also allow us to edit, repackage, and upload the information to the .coe knowledge bank pagka kayo po ang na-recognize. Tapos, yun po. So the submission of the entry forms certifies that all the information you provided is true, correct, and complete po. So any po na information na ibigay niyo sa amin, yun po yung ina-allow niyo na gagawin natin. Yan. So last na po itong question na to.
Okay, sige. The question po natin is, bale po, previous years na-implement ang innovation. Tapos, may room for improvement. Kaya this year answers the gaps of last year. Same practice, but more improved innovation. Will it still be considered one project despite totally huge modification or development? But still, same practice, the tools is just improved.
Okay. Siguro po some tips lang po. So we can avoid po focusing solely on an end product or service or a new technology as a best practice. Interested po kasi si GBPR in best practices na other organizations can learn from. Tapos pwede po nilang ma-implement themselves. Although of course, a product or a service is innovation siya or innovative siya or new technology. Ang focus po ay instead of submitting a best practice or the new product development or process, ang gusto po natin is the process has helped develop ang innovative end product or service. Yan. So kasi may mga tendency po kasi yung ibang applications na magsasubmit ng major transformation programs such as digital transformation or yung business excellence approach. Excuse me. They can encompass everything the organization does. But if the focus is on a larger change management that ensures that it is clearly defined in their program, and it can demonstrate that it was directly responsible for the change in performance. So siguro you can also break down the larger initiatives into smaller best practices para po easier to explain and identify po yung results. Siguro po it would be good to avoid assuming po that the larger best practice in terms of scope and impact will be favored more over the smaller best practice. Again, we're looking at best practices that answers the GBPR criteria. The screening of the entries is strictly based on the complete list of data submitted po in the online entry. Tapos yung bago po or recently initiated best practices can be a challenge po or a basis for the inadequacy of information. That's why we would like to see if the best practice has been implemented for more than a year. And of course, ongoing siya, mas maganda. Kasi po yung measurable results nun, baka mas maka-limited pa. Tsaka yung replicability niya is less likely to happen kung medyo mas bago-bago pa. Tapos given yung third-party citations, baka po mas maliit yung chances niya. So mas maganda po talaga yun. More than a year. Excuse me again.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Maan. Okay. We are receiving a lot more of interesting questions from our participants. It goes to show na interested talaga yung mga participants natin to join yung GBPR natin, the Government Best Practice Recognition. But due to the interest of time, we shall be answering more of the questions offline. So we will be sharing the answers. We will be collating the questions from the participants and we'll be answering it offline and shared it to them once we have collected all of the questions and the answers. Right? Sige. Again, thank you so much, Ms. Mary Ann, for answering the questions of our participants. And also, Thank you to our participants for actively participating and cooperating during the discussion. Let us all give ourselves a virtual round of applause, please. All right, at this point of the program, to strengthen your support for the Government Best Practice Recognition or GBPR, we would like to invite you, our dear participants, to pledge your commitment to showcasing and promoting best practices in the public sector. Please open your microphones and your video cameras. Yan, may we request everyone to open your microphones and video cameras. Are we all ready to be the champions in showcasing and promoting best practices in the public sector?
Yes.
All together, let us recite the Pledge of Commitment. GBPR
Yes.
2023 Pledge of Commitment. I,
Palipayon.
your name,
promote better
or
actively engage wholeheartedly support and
Pledge my unwavering commitment to showcase
enduring
and determination
example
to acknowledge, elaborate,
with
and
unwavering
transform public service
dedication,
we will make a unwavering dedication with unwavering dedication and values of transparency, champions and innovation,
Shining example.
together,
profound
we
and
will
enduring
make a
impact.
profound and
Together, we will make a profound and enduring
setting a
and a shining
shining
example for a better future
better
for the
future
country.
for the
I will be
country.
one of the pebbles that start the ripple.
One of the pebbles that start the ripple effect.
And my pledge of commitment.
Thank you and congratulations to everyone. And you may also access our pledge of commitment through the link found on screen and in the chat box. And together, let us embrace to be the champions in showcasing and promoting best practices in the public sector. A virtual round of applause for everyone. A reminder to everyone, kindly fill out the Google form for attendance sheet at the link shown on screen and shared in the chat box. Don't forget also to accomplish the evaluation form at the link shown on screen. Our team has also shared it in the chat box for your easy access. The e-certificate of appearance will only be issued to participants who have logged their attendance and filled out the evaluation form. So kindly ensure the correctness of your name spelling, as it will take some time to get replacement certificates due to errors found in the form. Also, please provide us some time to process your certificate. Before we end this program, we would like to take an official event photo as a remembrance of this successful gathering. We encourage everyone to turn on their cameras and strike a pose in front of their screens. Let's smile for the camera. Sir Philip will be assisting us for the photo opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Edmond, for this opportunity that we gave to our participants for our photo op. So may I request everyone to smile and give your best shots. Be counting. I think 5 seconds. Kindly hold your smiles for 5 seconds as we have eight slides, 8 batches for this photo op. Ayan, smile guys in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First batch, okay. For the second batch, smile. Just hold your beautiful smiles. Okay, I think we are done, and thank you for opening your camera and for having the opportunity with us for our photo.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Philip, and thank you to our participants for striking a pose in front of their camera. Watch out for more upcoming activities from the DAP. To keep you updated, don't forget to like and follow us on our official Facebook account and YouTube channel. Like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook page, website, and channel to stay updated. At mula po sa Development Academy of the Philippines, Productivity and Development Center, maraming salamat po. We will see you again, and together, we will make a profound and enduring impact, setting a shining example for a better future for the country. Hanggang sa muli po,